So the 2018 water relic hunting season is about to kick in. It's still a little early and it's a little cold and the rivers are a little high, but it's getting close. I've been doing a lot of research for new sites, and a lot of those sites are kind of far away from any of the put-ins that I can use to put my kayak in the water. So I decided I'd see if I could find some sort of propulsion to get me a little bit further out into the wilderness and into the more remote areas. So I bought a new boat and a motor for it. Take a look. This boat is made by a company called Wavewalk out of Massachusetts. They're made in the USA, and they build these as stand-up fishing kayaks. You can see why it's sort of a catamaran style, so it's inherently stable. They do not come with engines. I put this engine on myself, and I'll tell you more about that in a second. This is the smallest of the three models. I believe they make 3 models now, and this is the smallest one. It's the Model 500, and it's light enough and small enough that even with the engine I can put it up on top of my little Subaru without too much trouble. The motor kit is made by a company called SPS, and it's called a Swamp Runner. They have a mini kit, a small kit, a medium kit, and a large kit. This is the mini kit, and it's designed to run on about a 3 horsepower engine. I thought for something as small as this kayak, it only weighs about 60 pounds. Anything bigger than that would kind of be overkill. The engine itself is yet a separate unit, and I bought this at Home Depot. It's just a sort of a standard utilitarian engine that they put on lawnmowers and that sort of thing, I suppose. Maybe snow blowers or generators or that sort of thing. It was only about $120 for the engine, 3 horsepower. This platform I added myself. This is just pressure treated plywood, and I sprayed what's that stuff called? Flex Seal. I sprayed Flex Seal all over to waterproof it and sort of make it matte and make it look a little nicer. And I put this little piece of indoor-outdoor carpet on it for my dog, so she can ride along and she has a nice place to lay down. Otherwise she'd be slipping and falling down into the inside of the boat, and we don't want that. In order for me to transport the boat with the engine on it, I had to do something to where I could secure the shaft down without it flipping and flying around while I was on the roof of the car. So I just took a piece of deck material. This is just pressure treated, well, I guess 1x6 you call that, and I ran stainless steel 1/4-20 bolts down through with big wide washers on the bottom, and I attached 2 little pieces of treated lumber here so that the skeg can sit down in between there and won't swing side to side. I attached a couple of strap, I don't know what you call these things. They're not cleats. These I guess tie downs you call them. I put a tie down on each side, and again big washers on the other side so it won't pull through the plastic, so I can secure it down tight with this strap. It works pretty well. I can probably pick the boat up by, I can actually pick the boat up by the engine with this strap on there, so it seems like it'll hold it in place pretty well. And I guess that about covers it. I did add an extra piece. This is an actual motor mount that I bought with the boat, but it didn't seem like it had a thick enough piece here for this big motor mount, so I added a piece of treated, pressure treated 1x on there too. I guess it's the same deck board as I use for this. So that's about it as far as the boat's concerned. I'm going to put it up on the car right now by myself, and we're going to head to the river and test drive this thing. Let's do it. I can see that there's a couple things that I need to change already. Mainly, it's this tiller arm. This is a straight tiller arm that goes back to the engine for steering and adjusting the throttle. And because it's straight, I'm having to keep my arm at a weird angle, and it's killing my shoulder really to steer the boat. What I need is an angled tiller arm that comes out to here so I can hold my arm straight out and steer this way. And I believe that the company that makes this Swamp Runner engine, SPS, I believe they have one for like 39 bucks or something. So I think I'm going to order that as soon as I get home, because my shoulder's killing me already and I've only been out here maybe 15 minutes. But traveled a good distance already, and I don't know if you can see the movement of the water, but the current is pretty swift here. It's moving downstream pretty rapidly. And I was able to go upstream through it, and I tested it with my little speedometer app, and I was doing about 7 or 8 miles an hour upstream against this current. So I think going downstream it's gonna break 10 anyway. Not gonna break any speed records, but it's gonna get me where I'm going. So let's go a little bit more. What do you think? Well, here's something that I didn't anticipate. I shut the engine off to make that little piece of video, and I didn't realize how hard it would be to actually start the engine while I'm sitting in the boat. I had started it from the shore downstream before I got in, and it was pretty easy, but doing it from the boat's a little trickier. What I've done just now is I've turned myself around in the boat, and as you can see, I've rested the shaft of the engine up on this log so that I can get my hand on the pull start and get a good pull. I just pulled it and started it, so I know that it works this way. But this is why I'm doing this, you know, before I actually get out on a long trip somewhere. I really don't know what to expect with this thing until I get out and work with it a little bit. So I'm finding out some of the shortcomings, and that's okay, because it's going to do what I want it to do. I just have to learn how to use it. So let's start it up and go a little bit more. What do you say? Like an aircraft carrier. I'm going to see if I can make a 360 here. We did it! Just saw a muskrat. He dove under though. Water's running pretty fast under this bridge up here. I'm going to see how well we can get through it. So the whole idea behind using this type of motor is definitely not ease of use, but I can run in really, really shallow water, which is often what you run into when you're out metal detecting on these kind of creeks. Now today, the creek is fairly high, so I'm not really running into much in the way of shallow water to test it, but I know it will work because of the way that the propeller runs in the water. It runs right at the surface, about half in, half out. So the boat is actually drafting down deeper than the prop is, so there's pretty much no danger of the prop hitting anything. If you notice, I do have a prop guard on there. Now you wouldn't normally use one of these on a motor like this if you were running it in the swamps, because the idea is to get the prop down into the mud and push right through the mud. But I'm not running in swamps, I'm running in rocky rivers and creeks, so I don't want that prop to hit the bottom, hit a rock or a log. One strike on a big rock and it's done. So let's see if we can push ourselves back out here, and I'll show you what I mean by the way the propeller runs right on the surface. It's pretty cool. Problem running through shallow water with this. The prop guard keeps the prop from hitting anything, but it's only running in a couple inches of water anyway. One of the great things about this setup is that I'm by myself today, and I'm able to pick this thing up and put it on the roof of my car without having to take off the engine or anything. I can just slide the whole thing up there, engine and all, strap it down and go. Don't need any help lifting it up there. And I'm weigh maybe 135 pounds soaking wet on a good day, so if I can do this, almost anybody can do it. I just moved it myself from the bank here up to the car and on top of the car with no trouble at all. Well, that was a lot of fun, and that little boat exceeded my expectations. I didn't think it would move upstream against the current at that kind of speed. I think the top speed it hit was about 11 miles an hour, 10 or 11 miles an hour, and that's pretty good considering it's only got a 3 horsepower engine on it. So I'm looking forward to using it this summer. I have a lot of spots that are kind of far out there that I'd like to explore, and I could never get to them in a regular kayak. But I'll be able to do it now with this little boat. And you know, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that I wasn't inspired by Aquachigger and his little Mokai jet kayaks. Those things are pretty cool. A little bit out of my price range, but this seems like it's gonna get me where I need to go. So really looking forward to it. Hopefully the next video will be some metal detecting stuff. See you then.